Okay, I am at the light table that is near the computer storage room. This video is for how to draw onto film positive material to expose to your screen. I'm going to turn on the light there. I've got two scrap sheets here. One that is Velvetone and one that is Frosted Mylar. So I'm going to start by explaining what the differences of these two film positives are. The Frosted Mylar, now we want to, if we're drawing on this or painting on it, either way, we want to work on the frosted side, not the glossy side. So notice that this is the glossy back side and the frosted side is less reflective. So we want to draw or work onto the frosted side. The Velvetone is similar but different. It has a smooth side and a pebbly rough side. We want to draw or paint onto the pebbly rough side. And that's important, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. As always, try to handle these at the periphery where any oil from your hands is not going to contaminate the surface. Now, the whole point of a film positive is that you create something that is opaque in the image area and transparent in the non-image area, so that when you pair it with the screen in the exposure, the film positive is going to block the light in the image area and it's going to allow the light through in the non-image area. The reason we say positive and as opposed to say negative is that it's not like old darkroom photography where you go from a negative of the image to enlarge into a positive. It's not like that. You need this to be a positive. That is to say, where it is opaque, that's where it's going to print. Where it's transparent is where it's not going to print. Okay? So because of the nature of what a film positive requires, we really need to think about what we use on there so that it will be opaque enough to block the light. So we can't just randomly use stuff that we think will be opaque. For instance, if you use regular drawing ink like Higgins or Pelican or normal brands of what they call India ink for drawing, that is black, but it's not actually all that opaque. So that'll sort of work, but it'll be very unpredictable. And you'll probably be disappointed with how much light gets through your ink drawing. And then your screen print won't look like you're drawing. So if we're going to draw with ink, we need to use a very opaque ink. That's why we provide for you to use this Golden brand carbon black. This is the high flow acrylic. So you see in those images there, this ink is for airbrush, brush, nib, and pen, refillable pen. So this is a very liquidy, it's the consistency of, say, milk. It's a very liquidy drawing ink. We have 5 of these small containers that live on this shelf right here. Whenever you're done with them, they go back there. We do not fill these up. We just put about an inch of ink in each container at a time and let that get used, and then we'll refill them. This big gallon lives in the storage room, but generally the faculty or the monitors will fill this up. So that is a great ink to use for film positives because that is very, very opaque. Where you put it, you can have a very good assurance that it's going to block the light and so that your screen print will look like your film positive. Other things, you know, if people think like, well, Sharpie draws on anything, so Sharpie probably works great, right? Well, it actually doesn't. Any of those markers that are all surface markers are really not opaque. So again, they sort of work, but in a very unpredictable fashion. So for starting out, I want you to work in a way that is very predictable. I want you to work in such a way that what you see here is going to be as similar as possible to what you see in the actual finished screen print. So I want you to draw with this ink if you're using a brush, and if you want to draw with a dry media, I want you to use this. This is a Stabilo black watercolor pencil. We can use this wet or dry. You could acquire these at most art supply stores. Printmaking does sell this for $2.50 a piece, which is the price that we pay for them. If you ever want to try it out for free and just try it, that's fine. We'll be happy to provide you with one to try. And then if you want to use it more than just as like a trial, then that's $2.50 a piece. I do find that the Stabilo brand is better than any of the others in terms of opacity. So again, in terms of predictability, that what I see here is what I'm going to see there. So probably those are your two main tools: the golden drawing ink and the Stabilo pencil. There are other things you can use. This art graph is a big chunk that is a watercolor black pencil, so it's water soluble, but instead of a pencil, it comes in a giant chunk. Super useful. Here is a Stabilo black watercolor pencil, but it's this big thing here, so something like that works as well. And lastly, there is a brand called Zig opaque pen. If you really want to draw with a pen as opposed to a brush or a pencil, this brand really does make a big difference. These are not cheap. They're about $8 a piece, and you will find that the ink runs out faster than normal pens. However, using this is very reliable. Printmaking does not sell these. They are available from Takach Press Corporation. That's the only place I know to buy them. I do order myself a set of different nibs every semester, so when students want to try this, I'll let you try it, but I don't sell these. They come in 4 different shapes. So this is the big chunk for making big broad marks. Here is the superfine. It comes in superfine, fine, a calligraphy brush, so that it's a brush pen. So it's a brush pen that is flexible, that is really beautiful. It's great. And then it comes in the big chunk. So 4 different shapes, 4 different sizes. Those would be the range of your tools, and I would really discourage you from using anything else. Don't try to draw with pencils or ballpoint pens or regular drawing ink or all sorts of other things. And notice that I'm working on the light table, and the light table is on. I need to see my film positive in the same way that the screen is going to see it when we expose it. That is to say, with a light source behind it. So if I turn this off while I'm drawing, it's going to be highly deceptive because I'm not seeing it with backlit. So I might make a mark and I think, oh, that's super dark. It'll be plenty opaque. It'll block the light, and it doesn't. But if I am working on it like this, I will have a much better idea whether what I just put down is going to be opaque enough to block the light. So, moving on to a next sort of chapter of this video, we need to talk about the differences between Frosted Mylar and Velvetone. So let's label them. Velvetone and Mylar. In essence, the Mylar is very smooth. It has that frosted surface, but it's smooth. The Velvetone is pebbly. It is not smooth. It's not super rough, but it has that pebbly sort of surface to it. How does that translate? What does that mean? You have to understand that screen printing is extremely either or. Either the light gets through the film positive and cures the emulsion, or it does not. Either the ink is going to move through a particular spot of the screen onto your print, or it is not. There is no in between. It's one or the other.